Let me be direct, because clarity matters more than comfort. Most people never get rich, not because they lack intelligence, opportunity, or effort, but because they never stop to examine how their personal system actually works. They move through life executing the same financial behaviors year after year, assuming effort alone will compensate for structural mistakes. It never does. In engineering, a flawed system cannot be fixed by pushing it harder. The output is determined by the design, not the intention. Money is not a reward. Money is energy. The moment it enters your life, it becomes fuel. Fuel can either be converted into thrust that moves you forward, or it can be burned to produce temporary heat, comfort status, distraction, and emotional relief. Heat feels good, but it doesn't move you anywhere. Thrust is uncomfortable, but it changes your trajectory. Most people choose heat. They spend automatically, not deliberately. Their defaults are set by advertising social pressure and short-term emotion. New income arrives and is immediately assigned to things that feel necessary but produce nothing. Upgrades, conveniences, symbols of success. The system is quietly optimized for consumption, not creation. Over time, that system locks them into place. From a first principles perspective, this is irrational. If your goal is long-term freedom, every dollar must justify its existence. It must either increase future capability, reduce future constraint, or compound into something larger than itself. If it does none of these things, it is friction, and friction kills momentum. When I was building companies, there was no room for friction. Every resource, time, money, attention had to be aligned toward a single outcome, making the system stronger tomorrow than it is today. That meant ignoring comfort. It meant rejecting appearances. It meant accepting short-term discomfort in exchange for long-term leverage. Most people never do this. They optimize for how life feels right now. They confuse convenience with progress. They mistake being busy for moving forward. And then they're surprised when years pass and nothing fundamentally changes. Wealth is not about how much you earn. It's about how much of your energy you refuse to waste. If you don't consciously design your financial system, it will be designed for you. And the default design leads exactly where most people end up: working harder, consuming more, and wondering why the future never arrives. A new car is one of the clearest signals that someone is optimizing for emotion instead of trajectory. The moment a new car leaves the dealership, it begins destroying value. Not slowly, instantly. You haven't gained freedom or efficiency, you've accepted guaranteed loss in exchange for a short-lived feeling. From a systems perspective, that's irrational. You're allocating capital to an object whose sole predictable behavior is depreciation. What makes this worse is that people don't just buy new cars. They finance them. They borrow money at interest to acquire something that is mathematically designed to be worth less every single day. That's not a mistake at the margins. That's a contradiction at the core of the system. You're paying for decay. From first principles, transportation is a utility. Its job is to get you from point A to point B safely and reliably. The moment you pay extra for novelty status or ego, you've turned a utility into a liability. You've added drag to your system for no increase in output. When I was building companies, I didn't care what I drove. I cared whether capital was flowing into things that increased future capability. A car doesn't do that. It doesn't create leverage. It doesn't generate optionality. It doesn't scale. It sits there and loses value while demanding insurance, maintenance, and attention. People say they need a new car. They don't. What they need is reliability. And reliability can be purchased without absorbing the steepest part of depreciation. Let someone else pay that price. Take the asset once the loss curve flattens. That's not deprivation, that's intelligence. The deeper problem isn't the car, it's what the car represents. Buying new is often about signaling. It's about proving something to neighbors, co-workers, strangers, or even to yourself. But signaling consumes energy without producing progress. It's noise, not thrust, and a system full of noise never reaches escape velocity. Every dollar locked into a depreciating object is a dollar that can't be used to build something enduring. It can't be invested. It can't compound. It can't fund experiments' failures or future breakthroughs. It's frozen capital trapped in metal and rubber. If your goal is to change your future, you don't start by buying things that erase options. You start by eliminating drag. And a new car, no matter how good it smells on day one, is drag disguised as success. Buying more house than you need is not a sign of success. It's a sign that the system has lost focus. A house you live in does not generate energy. It consumes it. Every month, it pulls capital out of your system in predictable ways: mortgage payments, interest, taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities, repairs. The larger the house, the greater the draw. From a first principles perspective, this is not an asset. It is a fixed drain on future optionality. People are told that a home is their biggest investment. That idea survives because it feels comforting, not because it's technically accurate. An asset should increase freedom. A primary residence does the opposite. It anchors you to recurring obligations and long-time horizons. Even when its market value rises, that value is locked. You can't access it without selling the place you live in or taking on more debt, which only tightens the constraint. The bank will always encourage you to buy the maximum you're approved for. That's not advice. That's a sales strategy. Their incentive is not your long-term mobility. Their incentive is decades of interest flowing toward them. When someone stretches their life around a mortgage, they're not building wealth. They're transferring it. A smaller house does something different. It reduces burn rate. It lowers cognitive load. It frees capital and attention for things that actually move the system forward. You don't need excess square footage. You need margin. Margin is what allows experimentation, risk, and acceleration. The same logic applies to daily convenience spending. Eating out constantly, ordering delivery, buying routine comfort. None of these are catastrophic in isolation. The damage comes from repetition without awareness. Small leaks compound into structural weakness. Capital that could be invested is violently converted into short-lived experiences that leave no residual value. Convenience feels like efficiency, but it often produces the opposite. It trains the system to prioritize immediate relief over long-term capability. Over time, that preference hardens. The system becomes optimized for comfort instead of growth. Living below your means is not about self-denial. It's about control. It's about keeping your resources liquid and directed toward the future, rather than locking them into obligations that resist change. Progress requires flexibility. Oversized houses and habitual convenience destroy it. If you want momentum, you don't add weight, you remove it. Clothing is one of the most efficient ways society trains people to waste capital without realizing it. The constant cycle of new styles, seasonal updates, limited releases, and symbolic upgrades creates the illusion that identity must be continuously purchased. Most people don't buy clothes because the old ones stopped working. They buy them because the signal expired. And signals decay fast. From a systems perspective, this is pure inefficiency. You're allocating resources to objects that produce no leverage, no durability of value, and no improvement in capability. Once worn a few times, they become static inventory capital, locked into fabric sitting idle, doing nothing. The deeper issue isn't fashion, it's ego maintenance. People spend to reinforce an image competent, successful, relevant. But image is not output. Image doesn't build anything. It doesn't compound. It doesn't survive stress. A system optimized for appearance will always underperform a system optimized for function. I've worn the same basic clothes for years, not because I don't care, but because I care about something else more. Decision fatigue is real. Attention is finite. Every unnecessary choice is friction. When you eliminate superficial optimization, you preserve bandwidth for problems that actually matter. There's also a psychological trap here. The market convinces you that improvement comes from replacement. New phone, new outfit, new version. But real improvement comes from accumulation of skill, ownership, equity, and understanding. Replacing things feels like progress, but it resets the clock every time. Quality matters. Durability matters. Buying fewer things that last is rational. Constant upgrading is not. It's consumption disguised as advancement. Your value is not increased by what you wear. It's increased by what you build, what you own, and what you control. When money is spent to impress people who don't influence your future, it's gone forever. A system that chases approval will always run out of fuel. Recurring subscriptions are one of the most dangerous forms of financial drag because they're designed to be invisible. They don't feel expensive. They don't trigger pain. They slip quietly into the system and begin extracting resources every month without demanding attention. Individually, they look harmless. Collectively, they weaken the entire structure. From a first principles perspective, any recurring expense must continuously justify its existence. If it doesn't increase capability, save meaningful time, or produce measurable leverage, it's deadweight. A system burdened with deadweight never accelerates. The real problem isn't the money. It's the mindset. Subscriptions normalize passive leakage. They train people to accept constant outflow in exchange for stimulation, distraction, or the illusion of productivity. Over time, this becomes the default state, always consuming, never consolidating. Most people don't even know what they're subscribed to. They don't audit their system. They don't question whether a tool is still necessary. They let companies profit from their inattention. That's not convenience, that's negligence. A high-performance system is reviewed relentlessly. Anything that doesn't contribute to forward motion is removed. This applies to code manufacturing teams and personal finance. Optimization is not a one-time decision. It's a continuous process. When you cancel unnecessary subscriptions, you're not saving money. You're reclaiming control. You're restoring clarity. You're reducing noise so capital can be redirected toward things that compound ownership, experimentation, long-term bets. All 5 mistakes come down to the same failure, prioritizing comfort over trajectory. New cars create depreciation. Oversized houses create constraint. Constant convenience creates leakage. Fashion creates distraction. Subscriptions create inertia. None of these destroy you overnight. They destroy you slowly, quietly, while convincing you that nothing is wrong. Wealth isn't built by dramatic moves. It's built by eliminating drag and allowing compounding to work uninterrupted. Most people never get there because they refuse to tolerate short-term discomfort. If you want a different outcome, you have to run a different system. Money doesn't respond to motivation. It responds to structure. You can watch videos, read books, and feel inspired for a week. But none of that matters if the system stays the same. Outcomes don't change because you want them to. They change because you redesign the inputs. Most people wait for confidence before acting. That's backward. Confidence is a side effect of alignment. When your spending habits and priorities all point toward the future instead of the present, momentum appears naturally. This isn't about deprivation. It's about intent. It's about deciding that your future is more important than today's comfort, more important than appearances, more important than habits you never consciously chose. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be deliberate. You don't need to earn more. You need to waste less. You don't need permission. You need discipline. The system you run today is already producing results. If you don't like those results, stop blaming the world and start changing the design. The future isn't something you wait for. It's something you build quietly, consistently, and without apology.